What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Let's get into AEW Dynamite Fighter Fest for August the 23rd, 2023. Pretty okay show. We will go over the preview and predictions for All In. But before we do, we send our deepest condolences and our thoughts and prayers to Terry Funk and his family. Terry Funk was one of the best to ever do it. He was literally the best hardcore wrestler that ever graced the squared circle. Just great. And he will definitely be missed. His family is in our thoughts and prayers, and we send love and gratitude to his family and friends at this time. So let's go ahead and get into AEW Dynamite. The show itself was okay. So we kicked the show off with the Elite. They made their entrance. It was supposed to be a 6-man tag, but that didn't happen, thankfully. So Juice Robinson attacked a referee, and then there was just a big brawl scene that went on for about a good 5 minutes or so. So Takeshita, he comes out, he attacks Omega. Him and Omega, they have a little fight scene, and then Omega's able to fight off Tenosuke Takeshita. He's about to do the One-Wing Angel, but Takeshita rolls out of the way, and he dips out. So that's fine, but again, am I excited for this 6-man tag? No, just not. I hate 6-man tags. The reason being is because they're all the same. Like, there's nothing different. They're all the same formula. It's just spots. It's just all spots. Like, ugh. I just feel bad for, Omega, really, Moving on. Renee Paquette was backstage interviewing MJF. So MJF says that his trunks will be tight in London, and he's like the 2023 version of the British Bulldog, but a better public speaker and Jewish. He calls for the loudest main event in the history of wrestling and promises everyone in the building a paint if they do, except he'll make that Mark Tony Khan pay for it. I laughed my ass off when he said that. It was kind of funny. MJF says he's about to be the biggest headliner in the history of pro wrestling, and that's insane when you consider everyone who came before him. He's standing on the shoulders of giants, so he mentioned like John Cena, Triple H, The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And if he wins on Sunday, he might become a giant himself. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but he's ready for it. He says this is new to him, and he's never had a genuine friend in his life. And that's not him trying to be funny or work us. That's real. Adam Cole has made him a better person in a really short period of time and taught him that he can let his guard down, and they're not just friends, they're brothers. Brothers fight, they're competitive, but they always make up and they always hug it out. He gets why people have trouble trusting him, and if you think about the worst thing you've done in your life, he's probably done it twice, and all he asks is that we go on the journey and be vulnerable with him, and he promises it'll be rewarding. That's the first promise in his life that he intends to keep, because he's not just a scumbag, he's our scumbag. Really good stuff there. I am definitely excited for MJF and Adam Cole. I think that's going to be a banger. I think it's going to be good. But I still don't think that they need to be wrestling on the pre-show. I just don't. I really don't. And we have 11 matches on that card. 11 matches. 11. Ugh. That's way too many fucking matches. Ugh. Way too many matches. Moving on, Jon Moxley versus Rey Fenix. This was a good match. I really enjoyed this one. This is very solid. Jon Moxley wins via the sleeper hold. That was good. I enjoyed that. Post-match, the Blackpool Combat Club, they swarm in on Phoenix. So Eddie Kingston and Penta, they show up to make the save. And we see my boys, Santana and Ortiz. They come back. We haven't seen them in about a year and some change. I think it may be close to a year and a half. Last year's Blood and Guts. So they beat down Eddie Kingston and Penta until the best friends show up, until they make the save. And then they do a vicious crowbar shot to the head of Rey Fenix, which was fucking badass. It was great. So medics come down with a stretcher to take Phoenix away. That was cool. So the reason this happened is because of visa issues, basically. Phoenix was not injured, obviously. He was just being written off because he had to go get his visa. So that does make sense. So Eddie Kingston, he's backstage, and they're loading Rey Fenix into the ambulance along with Penta, and I think it's Alex Hernandez, if I'm correct in that. Probably not, though. Someone in the comments will correct me, I hope. Anyway, so Eddie Kingston, he doesn't want to deal with cameras right now. So Renee Paquette, she rolls up for an interview, trying to tell Eddie, she had nothing to do with this. So Eddie asked if Renee saw what her husband did, and asked how could she be okay with that before saying he's going to fix it at Wembley. So I love this. This was great. Absolutely great. Continuing on. So we get a pre-taped interview earlier on in the day from Renee Paquette. She asked Samuel Guevara why he helps Chris Jericho. So 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, they roll up and they give him some crap about helping Chris Jericho. But Sammy says Chris Jericho is his friend and he doesn't agree with everything he does, but he's blinded by his friendship with Don Callis. And when friends are wrong, you really have to be there for them. So Angela Parker says they're worried about him being blinded by friendship, and ask if Chris Jericho will be there for him like Sammy was for Chris. So that's fine. It's not really that important. Again, I guess they're forwarding that story of Sammy and Jericho still being friends, I guess. Who really cares? Who gives a shit? Moving on. So Tony Schiavone, he's in the ring. And there's a table. So it's the contract signing for Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay. So Don Callis asked why he did. Don Callis says why he did what he did can be summed in 4 words. Will by God Ospreay. And the only thing that would have been better than Jericho and the Don Callis family is being a part of ending Chris Jericho's career. So yeah, he threw away friendship in favor of money and power. So Will Ospreay gets on the mic. He talks about how this match is going to change his life, bruv. And the day before he fights Jericho, he's got an indie date Rev Pro 11 anniversary. He's taking on Shingo Takagi. That's pretty cool. He's trying to put food on his table, and he's going to be the only guy who can say he's beaten Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, and Chris Jericho in 2 months. And that will make a difference in 6 months when his New Japan contract is up. And he knows he's the best wrestler in the world. He's better than the Elite, better than Danielson, Punk, or Jericho himself. It's a rocket ship for him and his future, and he signs the contract. So Chris Jericho gets on the mic and says, Will wouldn't have accomplished what he did without him, because 5 years ago, when the entire wrestling world were predicting that Will Ospreay would be in a wheelchair before 30, like his hero, the Dynamite Kid, he called Will and told him to tone it down. And Chris Jericho says, hey, he listened, and now they're here at Wembley, Jericho versus Will Ospreay. But where Will is coming from is at the bottom. Chris Jericho's coming from the top with every dipshit on the internet predicting his demise. So he's going to be the best Chris Jericho he's ever been. And Will Ospreay will need to be his best if he has a hope of beating him. So don't make him regret calling him 5 years ago and keeping him out of the wheelchair. So there's a brawl that breaks out, and security does their best to keep them apart. So that's fine there. Again, Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay should be fine. I think the only problem is that this is going to slow Will down, and I don't want this to be a long, drawn-out match. No more than about 15 to 20 minutes. But hopefully it's not too long. But Will Ospreay, to me, he's just a white Ricochet, if we're being honest. He's a white Ricochet. Like, he's good in ring. That's about it. He's horrible on the mic. Absolutely horrible. And it shows. It absolutely shows. Bro. It's like, bro, like, come on, man. Really? And his accent is so damn thick, you can't even understand what he's saying. It's like he's talking with mush in his mouth. Like, what the fuck, bro? Moving on, so we get another sit-down interview, this time with Adam Cole and Renee Paquette. So, Adam Cole talks about how Adam Cole talks about how unexpected his friendship with MJF is and how grateful he is for Max's help finding himself again. He says he didn't get into wrestling with the notion of just being a wrestler. He has to be the best wrestler. He's won titles around the globe, but the AEW World Championship is the greatest of all of them. Really? He says he doesn't want to win the match. He needs to win the match. Adam Cole says he gets serious for a moment and says there's no issues between him and Max, and he's done. So he looks dead into the camera and says he's done, So that makes sense. Again, we don't know who's going to swerve who. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't want Adam Cole to go back being a heel. And I don't know. It's interesting to see where this story goes. Moving on. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne versus AR Fox and Swerve Strickland. It's a tornado tag match. So Darby and Nick Wayne win with a European clutch from Nick Wayne for the 1-2-3. I didn't even really watch the match. I'm not gonna hold you guys up. I didn't watch the match. I don't really care about Nick Wayne. Darby's fine, but Nick Wayne, he's got a long way to go. A long way to go. He's no different than Will Ospreay and Ricochet and the rest of those flippy dippy guys, if we're being honest. So post-match, Swerve gets on the mic and laughs and says this is so disappointing, and he means AR Fox. Every time he gets the opportunity of a lifetime, he blows it. And then Swerve asks AR Fox why he's such a loser, this was a test, and he couldn't beat an 18-year-old kid, Nick Wayne. So he can't trust him. Not in this match, and not against 80,000 at Wembley. So Swerve then gets the mic to Prince Nana and tells him to handle it. Nana fires AR Fox from the embassy. Brian Cage attacks AR Fox out of nowhere, beats him down with a lariat, and gives him a drill claw for his troubles. Darby Allin returns to the ring. He says he meant it when he'd always gives AR Fox credit for getting him here in AEW, and he helps AR Fox to his feet, hugs him, tells him he loves him. Darby turns to Shane and asks him who he has for London now. So Swerve and Nana, they laugh. And my boy Christian Cage. So Christian Cage gets on the mic, and oh my god, this was a fucking awesome promo. So Christian Cage asks Darby and Sting if they're going to introduce him to his little friend, and says it's nice to meet Nick Wayne, and he understands that he has a father who is dead. He's never heard of Buddy Wayne before, so he must not have been very good. But the good news is, because his dad was such a talentless hack, he doesn't have a lot to live up to. Damn. But this was a great, segment right here. Again, I'm still not excited for this match. I'm just not. Just changing pieces around, like arranging chairs on the Titanic. That's all they're doing. So Renee Paquette, she's backstage interviewing the Young Bucks and FTR. So the Young Bucks, they thank FTR for saving them lately, and FTR says they need to know who's better. No excuses. So the Bucks talk about how wild it is to have a show of 80,000 in attendance, and how FTR need to need this match for their legacy. FTR says it goes far beyond the titles. It's about FTR's legacy. And on Monday morning, Dax doesn't want to have to explain to his family why he lost. That he lost. My daughter. It's all about my daughter. What the fuck, man? Really? Come on, dude. So, Matt Jackson takes credit for getting FTR here and says that the Bucks will be remembered as the greatest tag team ever. Yeah, right. Fuck off with that shit. And FTR will be remembered as the guys they mentioned on YouTube once. So Dax Harwood says 80,000 people means they'll make them, and they'll crack their foundation. Okay. Who really cares? So we get a video package featuring Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida for the upcoming Fatal 4-Way. Not important. Moving on. So Ruby Soho, she has a promo about how one of her friends will bring the women's title back to the Outcast, and she's also coming for the TBS Championship. She's putting Chris Statlander on notice. Who cares? So this leads us into Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. Sky Blue was in a promo beforehand, but it got cut short. So Ruby Soho gets the win via Destination Unknown. Who gives a fuck? Moving on. So Roderick Strong and the Kingdom, they're backstage being interviewed by Renee Paquette. So all Roderick Strong says, by the end of All In, we'll see the real Adam Cole and the real MJF. Okay. Moving on, so we get a video package from the House of Black talking about retiring Billy Gunn. So the Acclaim, they come down with no music. They're pissed off. Anthony Bowens gets on the mic and says, it's no more mind games and no more fun time. And then he calls out the House of Black. So they appear. So there's a 2-on-3 brawl that breaks out. Out comes Billy Gunn to make the save. Billy Gunn gets on the mic and says, after the House of Black leaves, and says they wanted his attention, now they've got it. So he'll explain to them what they've done. A couple weeks ago, he sat in the ring and took his boots off, put them down, and did the two hardest things he's ever done. 1, walk out on Max and Anthony. 2, leave behind a really good career. But he's okay with that until they jumped the Acclaimed and busted Max open and hurt one of his kids. But that wasn't enough. They took his boots and destroyed them, trying to tear down a legacy that took 32 years to build, and he's done stuff in this business that will go down in wrestling history. He's a Hall of Famer, and the House of Black just pissed all over it. So for that, one more time, All or Nothing, and All In front of 80,000 people, he'll take everything from them. The House of Black versus the Acclaim, and unfortunately, Daddy Ass can't make the trip, but there's one guy who we thought we'd never see again. He guarantees they wish that they never seen him again, because there's a badass coming to London. Great. That's awesome. So seeing badass Billy Gunn is going to be tremendous. The main event, I'm not going to hold you guys up, didn't watch it. The Hardy Boys versus Aussie Open. Aussie Open get the win. So post-match, Mark Davis gets on the mic and tells the crowd to shut up, and Kyle Fletcher says there'll be no kangaroo kick, nor double clothesline, and they will retain the tag titles against MJF and Adam Cole. So Adam Cole and MJF, they come to the ring. They brought Aussie Open. They were able to hit the double clothesline. And then Adam Cole and MJF, they come face to face. So MJF grabs the title and holds it up. And he cold shoulders Adam Cole on his way out and gets out the Dynamite Diamond ring. Think about hitting Adam Cole with it, deciding better, and coming in for a hug. And so they hug each other, and then that was the show. So, okay show, I guess. Alright, let's get into the predictions. Oh, man, we got 11 matches on the show. 11. Oh, my God. Oof. So, MJF and Adam Cole versus Aussie Open for the ROH Tag Team Championships. Aussie Open. FTR versus the Young Bucks 3 for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I'm going to go with the Bucks since Cash made a mistake by accident. You know, stuff happens. You know, we don't know these guys personally, but, you know, stuff happens. He was, you know, on Dynamite and everything else, so maybe Tony will suspend him after this is all said and done, you know, after he's done an all out and all in. So the Bucks will win that. The Fatal 4-Way for the AEW Women's World Championship. Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm versus Saraya versus Britt Baker. Saraya. If it's not going to be Saraya, it's going to be Toni Storm. Those are my two picks to win. Saraya or Toni Storm. Next, Sting and Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage. Coffin match. Swerve and Christian Cage. I think that would be great. Next, the Golden Elite, which is Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page versus Tenosuke Takeshita, Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson, and Jay White. The Golden Elite. Stadium Stampede, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, and Penta, El Zero Mieiro versus the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Willa Yuta, Santana and Ortiz, Eddie Kingston, and the Boys. Moving on. Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. I don't know. I'm kind of torn in between. Ospreay's on a roll, but don't know. I'm going to go with Will Ospreay. Next, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the real world AEW Championship. CM Punk, he's going to retain, obviously. The House of Black versus the Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn for the AEW World Trios Championships. The Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn. Moving on, Jack Perry versus Hook for the FTW Championship. Hook. And then MJF versus Adam Cole, the main event for the AEW World Championship. MJF, and I think that Roderick Strong is going to end up costing Adam Cole, and MJF's going to align himself with the Kingdom and Roderick Strong. So that's what they'll probably end up doing, and it is what it is. But hopefully All In can deliver, I hope. I doubt if it'll be 80,000 in the arena, in the stadium. I doubt it. Probably maybe 40 to 50. I don't know. Don't forget, guys, scalpers exist. But All In should be okay, though. It should. I just hope it's not 5.5 hours, It starts at 1 on the East Coast. That means it starts at 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Oof, I feel bad for my West Coast folks. Damn. But all in all, the Go Home show was okay, but what did you guys think? Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to my videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.